Previously on the Overtalking Podcast.
This is the show where we talk about TV shows and movies, shows about our guests, and this week we watch The Fast and the Furious. And this week we watch Too Fast, Too Furious. By the way, we have returning guest Steve with us this week because, of course,
hey, what's up?
Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift, and this week we watch Fast and Furious.
The fourth one.
And this week we watched Fast 5. And this week we watched Fast and Furious 6. And this week we are, of course, starting out the new year with Furious 7. This is the show where we talk over cars. And this week we watched Fate of the Furious. And this week we have returning guest Steve on, so you know we're talking about something related to the Fast and the Furious. Hobbs and Shaw, can you please have a word?
Cars.
Cool. Steve, can we please have a word prompt, please?
Drift.
Perfect. All right, Steve, can we please have a one-word prompt?
Fast.
All right, Steve, can we please have a one-word prompt? Car? Is that what you're going to say? You're going to say car?
I was going to say car, and I couldn't audible out of it, so car. I'm going to do car again.
All right. Steve, can we please have a one-word prompt?
Cars.
I swear you did that like the past 3 times.
I don't think I've done that one before. I probably do Fast and Furious.
All right. Steve, can we please have a one-word car-themed prompt?
Daddy.
Toolman, can we please have a one-word prompt?
Rock.
And now, the climactic conclusion. You know, for now until the other movies come out. F9, the Fast Saga.
Is Steve joining soon?
Yeah, I told him the start time. I'm looking out the window for him. He should have been here. Oh, wait, that's maybe his car. Hold on. Is this him? Oh, and he passed by. Okay, he missed the place. Okay, he's sort of towards the end of my street now.
That's gotta be him.
Okay, he's turning around. Okay, here he comes. Here he is. Okay, that's
sounds
him.
like his car. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, he's coming up. Hey, Steve.
Sorry. I got caught up at the shop. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
These are my late days, and so much body work and decals and you know all the other words that I do.
Oh, yeah. Those motors.
all those words.
And then I had to just pick up a car that was hanging off the ceiling. Like, they're all in the shop, and I just, zoomed down here and clearly drove by, and then I had to come back because I missed the place.
Yeah. I could tell it was your car, though, because I saw some orange and brown neon lights. I think they're Thanksgiving themed.
It's just the Thanksgiving season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to say, they're pretty ugly.
Yeah, I mean, people have been yelling that. I started rolling up my windows because it was hurting my feelings. But after Thanksgiving, I was going to go to the red and green, and we're going to do that for a month.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's
You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
With the orange or brown decals, I mean, you probably don't need to wash your car as often, at least then, right? Like.
No, yeah, and I never really wash my car. I just get a new car every time it gets super dirty.
Oh, okay.
The best part about having access to a shop is that, when you're working on a car,
Air quotes.
it's your car. And then when it gets delayed and, when you're waiting for a part, that means you can drive it for another couple of weeks until the person needs their car back.
Yeah, and we'll get into the episode in a second, but I just want to go back to, you said the cars were hanging from the ceiling? Not lifted up?
No, it's one of those reverse models where...
one of those reverse ones.
Yeah, where you put them up into chains and it goes all the way up. And then they
all the way up into the ceiling?
Yeah,
into the ceiling.
Then I raise on a platform to get up there to get onto the bottom
Got
of
it.
the
Okay.
stuff.
That's convenient. That's convenient.
Yeah.
I just like to be higher up from the ground. I can think more clearly that way.
Because I was picturing from Tokyo Drift to the car elevator thing, but it's not that.
No, yeah. And that's actually where we store our cars that are done. In one of those like kind of models.
Yeah. One of the rotary. I don't know what those are called.
It's like a Carvana type model.
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Carvana. I think they went out of business.
So Steve, when you drove right by, I know a common issue in the Fast and Furious movies is that people use the NOS too early. Was the issue that you used it too late and you just like sped right by? Is that what happened?
Well, the problem is I didn't even have a full tank.
Okay.
So usually I can flip a quick Yui and NOS right back. But yeah, I blew
Did
it
it sound
too early.
more like this? Just a little poot of nos.
When I'm hitting them on the steering wheel, yeah, sometimes it's just a little puff and there's nothing left in there. But yeah, and I got plenty of nos in the other cars and stuff too. Okay. So I just, I was in a rush. Obviously, I picked one that didn't have enough nos.
Yeah.
I think I know better. Mistake. Yeah, you think I know better at this point. But
classic blunder. God.
Here we are.
All right, let's get this episode started. What do we say?
Well, yeah. So, Steve, can we please have a one-word prompt to get started here?
Fuel.
All right. I think that's actually a new one.
Actually, a new one.
It was between that and car.
Okay, car we've heard before.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if we'd done that one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do fuel. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Food is sort of my fuel. We're recording this around dinner time. We've got leftovers waiting for me. Right now I'm sipping on some liquid fuel, if you will.
Gasoline? Oh, okay. That's what I call
good old diesel.
Liquid fuel.
Yeah.
I have to fill up my
in
car
my
with
veins.
liquid fuel. Hold on one second. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, Ken and CJ. Say hi, CJ.
Woman.
This is the show where we talk over just the Fast and Furious movies. That's it.
Cars.
And this week we have Steve on, and we're talking about F9. It's just called F9.
Yeah, just F9. Doesn't have an actual word in the title. No more Fast, no more Furious.
We're
just
what
down
it is.
to initials. Yeah. And the next one's just FX, right? Like the network.
Right.
Am I in?
Very confusing. Pretty sure FX is already another movie, too. I don't know.
Is it?
I think so.
It's got to be, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we should introduce our guest. You made a good point.
I already kind of did. Steve,
Yeah.
welcome back.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, I'm still here. How's it going? Good to be back. First time, long time. Is that what people say when they're on?
Yeah, but I think I don't
Long
know
time,
what
first
applies.
time.
Yeah,
10th time, maybe.
10th time, long time.
it's your 11th appearance.
Oh yeah,
Right, the first one wasn't Fast and the Furious, right?
It was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, and I was in a blackout when I
Yeah,
watched
you
that
don't remember that one.
So that doesn't count in terms of the films
No,
or
doesn't
TV shows
count.
that I've watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that you didn't finish it.
Questionably, it wasn't even me. That could have been someone impersonating me.
That's true. I don't know if we took pictures back then. It might not have been you.
I wouldn't even check.
That
so
might not
I'm
have been.
checking. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
What are they signed on for? 2 more movies?
There's just FX is the last one, I think.
Really?
No, there's one
pretty
more.
sure.
I
Yeah,
think 9 was the
11.
beginning
One
of
more?
a
11?
new trilogy.
Yeah.
Because
What the hell are you gonna call
it's
it?
F9.
F11.
It's F9, the Fast Saga. So this is the start of the Fast Saga. I'm assuming there will be a Furious one. And there could be another Furious one after this.
Finally, they're getting to a trilogy. On the 9th movie, they're finally doing a trilogy.
Stupid. God.
I love it.
I hope
It's movie
the
rules.
next ones are out of order, like the early on ones.
Oh,
where
God.
they just skip over 3.
So this one takes place after Tokyo Drift?
Yeah, and I mean we're already past that in the continuity.
Okay.
So everything past 7 is all
7, that
is
was
all
it.
fresh off of
Couldn't remember.
right. 7 is the first one after.
No, it was. I
No,
thought
8
was the one.
Was it 8?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the previous movie is the one that they retcon in his actual death. Yeah, because then we watched
that's
Hobbs and
right.
Shaw after that, which is maybe
Right,
why
right,
it feels a little
Yeah.
more separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like a lifetime ago.
But yeah, the timeline is airtight. There is nothing wrong with that, and we get a lot of good detail on what happened. Characters that are we going to spoil some of these?
Yes.
Yeah, characters coming back to life that we've never seen
What?
before. Yeah. and
What?
This is the
hold
They've
on,
never done
hold
that
on.
before. Brought somebody back from the dead?
They definitely haven't, and it's definitely original. But before we get too much into it, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk about F9 and more on the Overtalking Podcast.
Vroom, vroom.
And a vroom vroom to you.
I used to live my life a quarter mile at a time. But things change. No matter how fast you are,
I am not to be compared to you.
no one outruns their past. And mine just caught up to me. Been a long time down.
All right, and we're back on the Overtalking Podcast, once again by returning guest Steve. And you know what that means? We're talking about F9. But before we get into that, CJ, did we get any listener mail this week?
Ken, so funny you should ask. We actually did. We got an email
Wow.
from our good friend, Charlene Johnson. And I don't know if they've ever said whether or not they're cool with me using their last name, so I'm going with it.
Okay, all right.
Because as we know, their email address is charlene.johnson.loves.her.kids@gmail.com.
Do you want to do
It's a
like
real
a quick
email.
quick recap of who this person is?
Oh, gosh. We'd be here all day, I think. Okay. Charlene is, as far as we can tell, an older woman. And I say older because they have a daughter named Hannah, correct?
Yeah.
Hannah, I think last time we checked in was in high school, maybe?
I think she was looking at colleges.
Yeah, okay. Maybe she's in college now.
vaguely
Hey,
remember
congrats,
that.
Hannah, if you got in.
Maybe.
Charlene seems, let's say, technologically impaired. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure.
Not great. Hannah's a listener of the show. Shout out, Hannah. Thank you so much. So her mom, Charlene, stumbled upon it somehow. Got mad at us that Hannah was doing poorly in her schoolwork
too much
because she was listening to our show too much.
We've all been there. That makes
Yeah, I
sense.
know, right?
Yeah,
Good for her mom
right.
for looking out for her.
Yeah. And she thought she should talk to us directly about that. So this one we got, subject line is just the word boy. And now I'm going to read this verbatim as how Charlene has spelled and worded things.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Boys, I forgot my Fabe Cook password. Do either of you happen to remember it? If so, please let me or Hannah know so I can get into it. I want to dive deeper into these darn election results and get knowledge. Hannah's boyfriend's daughter likes the Minions.
Oh, okay. Hannah's. Whoa, hold on. There's
That
a
was the
lot
whole
to
thing.
unpack there.
Was there any more? That was it?
That was it.
Did she sign off or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
She tends to just fire off send, just whatever thoughts and hit send.
Good
right
for
away.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skip the pleasantries. You're all friends at this point.
Yeah, she's an established part of the show.
Isn't her email handle like Yunk or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how when you sign up for Gmail, it asks you for your first and last name. Hers is Yunk, YUNK, for the first and last name.
Huh.
Oh boy.
Yunk.
So, okay, a lot
Hannah's
to unpack
boyfriend's
here.
daughter likes the Minions.
Yeah, that's
Hannah's
a good
boyfriend's
one
daughter.
to start with.
Likes
So
the Minions.
Hannah, who is
who doesn't?
probably a freshman in college at this point, has a boyfriend who has a daughter
Who has a daughter who likes the Minions.
who likes the Minions. So of Minions' age, okay. That could
Hey,
be-
I
that could
don't
be
think it
any
needs
age.
to be a Minions age. Who doesn't like the Minions is a better question.
Exactly, it could be any age.
I go bananas for him.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a reference. There's a Minions reference, or so I've been told.
Right.
I've
you
never
haven't
seen
it.
anything Minions or
wouldn't know
Minion
that.
related. Yeah,
Right.
but if I had a daughter, I'd hope she liked the Minions, like Hannah's boyfriend.
Canonically, you've only watched Citizen Kane and this franchise, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. But I've heard good things, but I will not watch any other movies.
You should. You're missing out.
I
They're fun.
what we've talked about is if the bar has been set that high, why would you want to do anything lesser for the rest of your life?
That's right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, why would we have her password?
I don't know. We're friends, I guess. I'm not really sure. That's a good question.
We're not.
We're not. We haven't heard from her in quite a bit, I think.
She doesn't actually reply to any of our emails. She just sends us one-off emails. Yeah.
Yeah. And most of them, the past ones have come in the form of what I can only think is screaming, because she's using all caps usually. This one wasn't
I think
that,
she
but I
hits
think in
that
the past
caps
she's
lock.
been very angry at us.
Yeah.
Which, can't blame her. We've been ruining her daughter's grades for a while.
I think if she's old enough to date someone with a child, she can list us as much as she wants. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very unique parenting there. I think if she's okay with the dating someone with a daughter that's Minions age,
Whatever that means.
whatever that means. But at the same time, let her listen to a podcast about movies
And TVs.
and TV. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the bigger issue here is her getting locked out of the Facebook account because she can't get her election results. Apparently, that's the only way.
Yeah.
to do
Also,
it.
Facebook is probably not the best place to be diving into what happened with the election, quote unquote.
Really? It's
Don't
news
tell
to
this
me.
person that. What's her name? Christina?
Charlene
Charlene. I was always
Johnson. Dot loves dot her dot kids at gmail.com.
there. Mrs. Yuck Yuck.
a.k.a. Yunk.
Man, I'm butchering her email and her real name.
Yeah.
Come
Get together,
on.
Steve.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to move on. We can't spend the whole episode on her, but we're going to have to reply back and let her know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Charlene. Per usual, gladly hop on a Zoom to help you troubleshoot your Wi-Fi and Facebook password.
I would just
I'll get back to
respond.
you.
Her password might be Fast and Furious, all lowercase, no spaces, because that's my password.
Oh, Steve, do you want me to bleep that out?
Oh, no, that's okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm assuming most people have the same password.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it'd be kind of
mine's similar.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You
So,
know
yeah.
who would,
I mean, I
you know who
fire
would be
that
a
back.
fun guest to have on, aside from Steve, obviously, but I think Yunk could be a
We
fun,
should have Charlene on the show. Oh man,
Right?
can you imagine the headache trying to get her to set up Zoom and all that?
Yeah, there's no way, right?
Yeah,
That wouldn't.
We should try though. That would be fun. Maybe for oh gosh, I'm already like March. All right, Charlene, we can fit you in March.
If we can't get her, maybe we can get Hannah or Hannah's boyfriend.
Yeah, or Hannah's boyfriend's daughter. I'd love to talk the Minions.
You should definitely do Minions with Hannah's boyfriend's daughter, and then you could talk about Yunk and Hannah and Hannah's boyfriend,
Who's
all
like-
separately.
Yes.
Because
Her if they get married, like step grandma is Charlene to this person.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
is Yunk.
Yeah. Young. The
Graham
step-grandma.
Yunk. That's what she's gonna call
Mama
her. probably.
Young. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the show.
Let's talk about F9. Steve, we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock for you to describe, for someone who's never heard or seen F9, what it's all about.
Which I mean, like, get your life together if you haven't seen this
I know.
masterpiece.
You
All right, here we go.
By now. Don't-
Ready, go.
All right. In the past, I've been really bad about my time management for this kind of this
No.
part, so I just wanted to get off on the right foot here and not waste
Yeah,
any time.
definitely.
Really think about it.
So I just want to make sure I choose my words carefully. How much time do I have left?
15 seconds?
Okay, so I should probably get started
Really,
here
really
pretty
be
soon.
deliberate about it.
So
Yeah.
like we
This is
talked
important.
about before, this is F9, so that means it's the 9th movie in wow. Now it's called the Fast Saga.
4,
and John Cena's
3,
in the mix now, and
2,
it's more furious than
One.
ever.
Time. It is more furious than ever.
You know, surprisingly, that's all encompassing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
I
what
think you
else is
nailed
there
that.
to say? The Rock's
There
not
really
in it.
isn't. Yep, I should have said that.
Yeah, gosh. What a letdown.
And
know.
I just hope there's no bad blood between any of these actors behind the scenes.
You know, I don't know that I have any gossip updates. I know that was a previous segment about the beef between
Right?
them because
yeah,
I think
I don't either.
Yeah, I
You were
haven't heard
pretty up
anything
to
in a long
date last
time.
time.
yeah.
I think that's the most recent update that I've heard about
Yeah.
it. But recently on Twitter today, I saw that they increased the budget for Fast X
Oh, good.
to like $340 million.
That's
So
it.
it would be one of the top 3, I think, of all time of highest budget movies.
Yeah, I was going to say that is
Of all movies ever?
unheard of.
Wow.
Yes,
That is wild.
it's like up there with like the Avengers movies, and for some reason the
Wow.
4th Pirates movie.
Which really worked out for them, huh?
The fourth
Yeah.
and last Pirates movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to touch on this whole franchise, the FFF, the Fast and Furious franchise, is so good about introducing. Yeah, you got that.
I was like, what was that last F?
The FFF.
We call it the FU. Is the Fast Universe, right?
Yeah, it's got to be like the.
Well, it's the
Fast
FS, right?
ampersand-
The Fast
yeah.
Saga.
No, I was
Yeah.
thinking it'd be
Phenine.
F ampersand FU.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Hey.
Slow.
Sorry. They're so good at just introducing celebrities to make these movies more popular. So in this one, we have, instead of The Rock, we have John Cena!
And that's exactly what happened the first time we see him in this movie.
Yep.
That's right.
And
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure that was in his
incredible.
contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
He rolls down his window, and yes, it's a manual. It's a hand crank window. Leans out and does the can't see me motion.
That's what was playing inside the car. You slowly hear it as it gets
Yeah.
louder as he rolls down the window.
Exactly. Which as I was pulling that, did you guys know there are words to that song?
No.
No, please
Yeah.
play them.
I didn't either. He does for a little bit at the beginning.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me,
Is that John
What?
Cena?
That was John Cena himself.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
So the "You Can't See Me, the Time Is Now."
That's him saying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel
Have we
like that's a
done
missed
Peacemaker
opportunity
on
for
this
this movie.
show?
They should have used that. I feel like you have done Peacemaker.
Yeah, I
right?
think we did.
We
I think
must
it was
have,
a just.
right?
Yeah, we did. It was a Just Us episode because we were like, "What have we
Okay.
both seen recently?"
Right.
So that we don't have to do any additional work for this episode.
All right. Well, then, no more to say about that. But John Cena's in it. But also, shockingly, someone who may have been dead is also in it. What?
Hashtag Hans back. What?
Hans back, baby.
Hans back.
And in
he
the
was never
and in the
gone.
best. No, he never really died at all. And they explain it so eloquently that I'm not even going to try. But maybe Steve, you can explain how they say that he didn't die in that horrible explosion car crash thing.
That we saw.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, this all makes sense. Obviously, to anyone who would ever even watch this, it doesn't really require a lot of explanation. But anyway, Tokyo Drift. Everyone, it happens a lot later than you'd think. They're all using flip phones to be retro. But we see Han explode in a car, and then later we find out that Jason Statham actually blows up that car. But then we're like, okay, he's for sure dead. He's for sure
gotta
dead.
be.
But then we realize, Tokyo Drift era, he's actually working with Mr. Nobody, who's the guy who's behind all of like the cool tools and planes and gadgets they all have. So he recruited Han to help him, and he's like faked his death so he can help protect some asset for the newer technology that they're trying to protect from the bad guys. Every movie's got new technology, as if they couldn't ramp it up already, but that's why Han had to be dead, so he could be under the radar, which makes so much sense, because if he was alive, that would be a huge headache and nothing would make sense.
Yeah, if he were alive, then he would just still be part of the same crew that they're already going after and hate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So things change dramatically.
Things would change. Things
for
would change.
him being dead.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what Mr. Nobody says is the hardest part, keeping him dead.
Yeah. The easy part is killing.
You gotta
Or
stay dead.
fake killing. But the hardest part is
that
fake
looked very
keeping
easy.
them dead.
Fake keeping him dead, yeah.
It's a very, very interesting turn of events there. It clearly cuts back in the past because he's got longer hair in the past and he's got shorter hair now. So he's like, okay,
Time has
the years have done something to him. He's changed his hairstyle.
Yeah.
And now he's got this like daughter figure almost that he's living with in Tokyo. They find his little hideout because he just has like a Mexican flag hiding up there or like hanging up on the wall. And they just happen to be in the right spot in all of Tokyo, which is generally how these movies work.
Just getting lunch.
Yep.
Definitely not a huge leap to think that the Mexican flag in the window has to do with the one-off thing that Han said at one point, that Japan is his Mexico.
Yeah, which we all remember.
Yep, definitely was said in an
Because
earlier movie.
that happened.
Wasn't retconned
I
at all.
remember like nodding when that happened. I was like, oh, this
yes.
might come
Right.
back at some point.
Gonna make a mental note of that. That's surely gonna pay off.
Yeah. I mean, this movie, one coming in with Han coming back from the dead, you'd think that'd be all they could really fit into one movie.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as you know, we got John Cena as a new family member, which they retconned a new member of that family.
Yeah, Vin's
Where it's-
younger brother.
It's just Dom and Mia the whole series.
Yep.
And then it's just like,
Oh, by the
is
way,
that Jacob? Is that your brother? What?
What?
And then they just then they actually go back in time and show like them like growing up and racing cars and stuff. And that's the first time you actually see a young Vin Diesel moving around. And he's got the actually a better emotional range there,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is insane. And yeah, and the first time he sees his brother after all these years, you can tell on his face that he's shocked. He's gripping with that because his face changes and it looks different than it has throughout the whole series. And there's a guy who could say everything by saying nothing, by just looking at his face. So,
I am Groot.
yeah, I am Groot.
Such a rage. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with all of that. I was so... I think, Ken, you and I saw this in theaters. This was when
We did.
hashtag movies are back. We went into the theater and watched this. I had a great time. I think I both like... It was that mixed emotion of like... laughed but guffawed at John Cena showing up in the movie. It was just like, oh, at first this is funny to me, but then it's like, oh, well, of course he's in the movie.
Of course he's in it. Yeah. The more you think about it, the more you wonder how he wasn't in it all along. And in a way he was, because he was the brother that was clearly referenced in earlier movies at any point.
Right.
So,
and I think it makes just so much sense. Like, in my head, I felt like he had a brother, and there might even be more family members. I just don't know how I feel about that now, but there might be.
Right.
Let's hope so.
But it was just wild to me, because at some point in the movie, Vin Diesel's racing around with Helen Mirren in London, because that's a good plot point to have. Mm-hmm. And she realizes that she had run into John Cena at one point, or seen him, and then he's like, "Oh, it was unmistakable. You guys have similar features, and you look similar, and you're." And they even specified similar heights, and I was just like, "That's perfect," because they look nothing alike, and they're different heights, so they don't look like brothers at all. But they're really just trying to be like Vin Diesel's like, "I look like John Cena."
Yeah. Even in the flashbacks, there is a clear height difference.
Yeah, they really emphasize that one. Like, let's get a short one for John Cena.
Yeah.
He springs up.
and then later on when they're facing off and they're literally face to face, exact same height.
It's gotta be.
as we come to expect.
Yep.
And it's
The
canon.
Rock.
The Rock is the same height as both of them.
Same
then.
height.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all a full foot taller than them.
But yeah, Helen Mirren with that line talking about how similar they looked.
Yeah. Well, they also, I love then Charlize Theron's line of like, so she's captured by, we find out, John Cena, who's also this like mastermind spy guy, similar to Vin. But she says, oh, I knew you Torettos were like a mix of ancestors or whatever. But she's like, but I didn't know there was some Nordic in your bloodline, referencing John Cena's chin. It's like, oh, that's a weird retcon way of being like, oh, yeah, they've got all sorts of DNA types in them. Also, we didn't need to acknowledge this. We get it. Like,
We didn't need to acknowledge it in either capacity.
yes, just we get it. They don't look alike. None of us is. No one going to these movies is like, you know what really stood out.
If you're watching F9, you don't care. And I mean, you don't care about anything anymore. And it doesn't matter. So you don't need to even try
to.
Yeah. But, it seems odd when you're watching it for the first time. I understand that. But then after you have a second to like sit in it and think about it, it could make more sense if you wanted it to. It's just like, they actually, now when I look at them, they look the same. Totally. I don't know, something that's changed in my brain where I'm like, they are siblings to me. And Mia, you can tell, they all look similar. They have similar features. Everyone that they cast as the younger versions of themselves look similar to me. The classic Nordic genes and whatever the hell else they got going on. But they look similar to me. And I don't think, if they introduce more family members, I hope they look just as similar. That's all.
And they will. And I bet you Jason Momoa's part is another brother. He's our long-lost brother, too.
And we're the same height.
Yeah.
And I'm just as big as him.
And the younger version of me is definitely the same height as me now.
Right. Of course.
I love it.
So there's a bunch of other characters in this that we gotta get to. So I think my favorite part of this movie is, and probably every Fast and Furious movie, is the Roman and Tej conversations. And in this one in particular, it just gets so perfect. Roman literally realizes he's in a movie.
Yes.
Like pretty much realizes he's a fictional character in a movie and cannot die and has literal plot armor. And it's awesome.
Yes. He talks to his fellow crew about being invincible. He's convinced. Think about all the things we've done. We haven't died. And they
I don't even have a scratch
along with
on
it. Yeah. And then finally they're like, oh, you're an idiot, whatever. And then later that just keeps coming up more and more throughout the movie of like, they get into a fight in a truck and he's like, yeah, not a single scratch. See? It's happening.
Yeah. Within the first like 10, 15 minutes, he's like surrounded by 15 guys that are just shooting at him. And he survives that. And then a truck flips over and lands on him, looks like, but he was actually just behind it or inside of it in a way where he didn't get hit at all. So then it cuts to the reaction of Ludacris being like, oh, he's dead. Like it cuts to him being like, oh, he was crushed by a car, like pancaked. And he walks behind it and he's like, all right.
Hey, by the way, I'm not dead.
And then later on, they're driving, or I think it was before that, he's just like getting blasted by these landmines. Doesn't die there.
Yeah. I would have liked it so much better if, instead of him being behind the car, if he literally opened the door and came out of the car somehow.
That's what I thought it was
Yeah,
the first time.
lands on him perfectly, so then he just exits the vehicle. That'd be good. Give me in that room.
But I hope FX goes more in this direction. I hope that in FX and F11 or whatever the last one is, that they totally realize they're in a movie and that they just do the craziest things possible because they know that they can't die.
Yeah.
I hope that is where it goes, and I think that would be the best if that went there.
It seems like they're already there for
Yes.
the most part,
Right.
because this movie was really
Right.
up in the ante in terms of, like, even in that first scene, there's like a bridge that they're driving on that's collapsing as they're
Right.
driving past it. That's like
Yep.
all rickety. And then the bridge is gone, and there's just like one cable. So Vin Diesel just slams his car into it, hoping that it would latch on and pendulum him across this whole valley, which works out perfectly.
Of course.
It works out great. He doesn't just fly off the cliff.
Yes.
John Cena gets swooped up by a plane in his car.
And that makes sense. They had
Yeah.
that plan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're
The
right.
Vin Diesel just
point, good
improvising
point.
and being like, oh, there's no bridge. Let me just rip into this string and hope it doesn't break at all. And it latches onto my car perfectly. But then, later on, we get into a situation where we meet all the Tokyo Drift guys. They're testing this rocket car.
Love
They,
'em. Love
they use
that
a
crew.
line saying, like, hey, you've heard of 10-second cars. How about a 2-second car? And they test this rocket car. It's as fast as a plane. It blows up at the end, so it's not a great car. But basically, the plot's moving to the point where, like, we need to get to space, obviously, as these
Naturally.
plots would go. And the best way to get up there is on a high-tech plane that's carrying a car with a rocket on it.
The car that blew up earlier, I think,
Correct.
in the movie.
The exact same
Right.
car.
The same
And that's
car,
kind of held together
yes.
by duct tape and stuff, so that seems odd.
Yeah.
The big plane that's flying them up there looks like state-of-the-art and everything. But then they have to, like, smash it into a satellite, and they have no way to get home and all this stuff, too. And then, everything works out. They're okay. They don't, like, puncture their car and puncture their suits and, like, die immediately and get crushed by, I don't know, space stuff.
Yeah.
They're just fine. And that's, like, the most realistic and awesome part of the movie to me, because that's where this was all headed. We could tell, like, from Fast 5 and on, we're like, they're going to go to space.
They got to. I've heard
Finally
of
did.
jumping the shark, but jumping the earth?
Yeah, straight up. Jump in the earth right into a satellite.
That scene has probably my favorite quote of the movie, but I can't remember it. So I'm hoping either of you can fill in the pieces that I'm missing. But
In the space
Tej
one?
is talking when they're going to space, and Tej is talking about how he's all about numbers, and that's like how he works. And then when they're talking about crashing the car into the satellite, Roman says something, and then Tej says something isn't numbers. Can you fill in what that quote was? I can't remember it.
It was something like, he was talking about how everything is numbers in space, and then he's like, "Oh, can you maneuver the thrusters?" And Roman was essentially just like, "You got the numbers, I got the driving."
Yeah.
And then, but he uses that, and he's like literally just sitting there, turning a steering wheel as if that's going to activate thrusters. But it works.
Of course it
The
does.
steering wheel seems like a really odd choice for space.
Yeah,
Spoiler
well,
alert:
how are
there's
you
no
gonna steer it,
there's
Steve,
no
without a
roads.
steering wheel?
I mean, that's the only way I know how to steer things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably do that myself, to be honest. I don't know why I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that what you're going for? Is there something else? Because he
There was something
mentions like,
after
you do the
that.
numbers.
Yeah, he basically
There was something after
is
that.
implying that, like, oh, you're the nerd, I'm the car guy. Let me
Yeah.
take it from here. Yeah. That wasn't, I have other quotes, but that wasn't one of them.
What else you got?
I had my ass is in fuego. That was a fun one.
Yes.
And then this one, this was maybe my favorite. I feel like I'm in Transylvania and they are in Scotland.
Okay.
It is it's well established. We see a title sequence screen, like it says on the movie Scotland, and he's like, "Man, I feel like I'm in Transylvania or something." It's like, what?
Hey, those lines hit. That works. That works.
Yep. And then the other quote I had down was back when before they catapult off the cliff and have the anchor or whatever, the bridge exploding. Dom turns to Letty and says, like, "Be careful," and Letty says, "Careful is when you get hurt."
Yeah. And that's those are words to live by. And she's someone that's died and come back to life too.
Right, so she's-
she's been careful and
Yeah.
she still died. but came back to life.
So never again.
So
She'll
yeah,
never
she
be
knows.
careful again.
She gets more and more furious and lives furiously, and that's the whole point.
that is the saga.
One of these movies, I mean, at this point, really no straight out racing done.
Yep. No, wait. There's some racing in the flashback.
Racing?
Oh yeah, I mean just
Okay.
like a NASCAR
The like Final
style
Destination
track.
4 one. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the
Well,
racetrack.
it sets up the whole like brother conflict
Right.
that they raced for who gets to stay in this town.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Against little John
That
Cena.
was good.
Against little John Cena.
And then we see what brought young Vin Diesel to jail
Yeah.
when he's
Was
beating the
murdering
shit
somebody.
out of the guy and killing him with a wrench or whatever.
Did he die? I
pretty
assumed.
sure,
I
yeah.
thought so too.
Probably. Yeah.
Does he go to prison for straight up murder? Yeah.
But yeah, he went to prison
Straight
and
up
he meets
just murdering.
he meets Santos and the other guy,
Yep.
and they're like,
Right.
yeah, then they're part of the family. That's the families. Yeah, you can see all the roots here, and for diehard fans, it's. A
I
big
did
moment.
like when
It's
they
cool.
met up with whatever that guy's name was and the other guy, and they had the same subtitle like cool font thing that they do in the earlier
Yeah.
movies. They did that here again. I liked.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
That's
That was
nice.
good.
I'm trying to, and I'm going through the list of other cast members.
Well, so yeah, another cast member was Ramsey, the other who is basically the same role as Tej. And one fun scene later on, they have this really powerful magnet that definitely obeys normal laws of physics.
And
Right.
it's a huge part of the
Obviously,
rest of
you're
the
gonna
movie.
be-
Magnets are a huge part of the movie.
How do they work
know.
though? You know?
Yeah, how do they work?
So let me explain to you how they work. At least in the movie, if you have a magnet in a car, like a not a super giant heavy car, but like a normal car, maybe like a truck,
Like a sedan.
and you turn it on to max, it can pull in anything of any weight into it without moving that car at all. That's science, baby.
The car that is containing the magnets is not affected by the magnets. We all know how this is how it works.
That's how magnets work.
That's how
In
they
this
work.
universe, I mean, that universe is a different
Yeah.
universe. In the FU, it might be different
Hey.
magnets. In the F ampersand FU
Thank you.
or the triple F, there's different magnets work differently there.
Yeah.
Space
Sure.
works differently there.
Yeah. Everybody takes their car to space.
Yeah,
This is a normal
that's
thing that
fine.
happens.
So I had no problems with that either. And I think my other issue was, they're driving through the street, ripping magnets on both sides, ripping all these cars off that are parked.
Yeah.
If there was someone unfortunately sitting in one of those cars, that would have been
I
a
know.
hell of a way to die.
They're murdering people left and right, guaranteed.
But knowing that you're dying for the greater good, that's Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
At least one of these cars could help slow down this giant truck for him.
Oh,
And
Timmy,
my
I'm
life
so
doesn't
sorry to
matter.
hear about your dad. How did he pass? Well, he was sitting in a car
Yeah.
and he got sucked up by
And
a magnet.
Dom Toretto drove by with a big magnet car, and it ripped in to help slow down a big truck, and it didn't really slow it down.
How did your grandma die? Oh, she was just shopping in a store, and then a car ripped through the store from the other side.
Yeah, they actually
And,
reversed the magnet and blasted it into these buildings.
She held onto her little shopping cart and got swooped up.
I have a really good new introduced character. When Vin Diesel is actually trying to hunt down John Cena and goes to this that foreign young rich guy's house.
Yeah.
And it's technically like an embassy, so you're causing trouble here, we can arrest you according to our country's laws. And then he gets taken away, but it's a different crew, a crew that he's got in cahoots with, led by none other than Cardi B.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely seemed in place. Seemed like a
and
normal...
they give her lines too, which is
Man,
the
does she deliver those
decent
lines.
amount. Yeah.
And then I found out that I think Vin Diesel's daughter just likes Cardi B, so I think that's why that got set up. But the giving her lines part was very, her delivery was,
Great A.
it was,
It was, it was
exactly.
perfect.
Well done.
yeah, that was good. But it took me out of the movie when I saw that.
Oh, really? That's what did it.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wow.
But then I had some time to think about it, and I was like, "Oh, of course she's in the FU.
course.
She has to be.
course.
She's a superstar."
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And I hope that she becomes a major player down the road, maybe even part of the family.
Ooh.
I can tell you she is in FX.
There we go.
No
there we go.
joke.
So this
No
makes sense.
joke.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
change is always hard when it first hits you, but once you sit with it, it becomes natural. So
You really have a good think on it.
yeah, and that's a lot of the changes they make to this franchise.
Yeah.
But now you go back to a simpler time when it was just about cars, and that doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I'd rather have cameos and explosions, magnets, space, rockets, all the characters that we've come to know and love.
Yes.
Bucket of Coronas, just to
Yeah.
bring us all back at the end.
And Ken, I know this is exactly how you feel as well, right? Your ratings have not dropped off at all the more that they've gone into this.
We'll get to that later on.
Ken, how did you feel about the Tokyo Drift crew coming into action?
Yeah,
was
that's
that a
your
big moment for
favorite.
you?
I did. I remember when I saw this in theaters, I got legitimately excited, even though they had brought back the main dude in one of the earlier movies. I think in like a post-credit scene or something. Dom's talking to him, but it was really cool to see him and was it Lil Romeo or what's that dude?
Lil Bow Wow.
Dude?
Bow Wow.
Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah, Ken's underplaying
yeah.
it. I looked over at him in the theater and one single tear rolled down his eye.
I was
I mean,
giddy. It was
Especially
great.
at the end of the movie where he sees Han for the first time after he died.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, man. And this guy was in high school then, so I'm assuming he's in college now. Right?
Yeah, that 50-year-old
yeah,
is
yeah.
only in high school.
It's only a couple of years later, right?
Yeah.
So
and his hairline would make you believe that he's only 19 because he probably was like 15 before. But I mean, that's a cool career arc for this guy. He's a young high schooler. He's racing cars with Tim the Toolman's son. He's drifting around Tokyo. Then he ends up in wherever the hell, putting rockets on cars and having access to that with
the
Lil Bow Wow
normal
and
next-
the other guy.
obvious next step. Yeah.
And the other guy.
And next thing you know, they use that same car to blast Ludacris into space.
The natural trajectory of that guy's life.
Yes.
And it all ends with
Obviously,
a backyard
that's
barbecue at
how
Dom's house.
Tokyo Drift would go. Yes.
It all ends with a barbecue with Brian showing up. Is that what that car was at the end?
That's right.
Obviously.
Well, look,
it was
okay.
Brian's.
Well, look, guys, this is the Thanksgiving episode, right?
That's right.
And we couldn't have chosen a better time to watch F9 or any Fast
Absolutely.
movie because they all end with everyone cracking a Corona, gathering around with the family. And giving thanks, basically, right?
And it was
Yes.
his son, little Brian's, first time to say grace, too. And you're like, that's going to bring the whole family right together. And it's a good tribute to Big Brian, who shows up at the end.
Another
And he's not-
tear rolled down Ken's eye when that happened as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
mess
big
by the
moment.
end.
That was a big moment.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up because I listened to your other episode with She-Hulk. I've never actually seen the show myself,
Right,
but
yeah.
I've heard...
I finished it. So
I've heard at the last episode, it ends with this little like outdoor barbecue kind of situation, which is very similar to Fast and Furious. And I think
Sure.
My friend told me that Hulk walks up wearing like a little shirt, looking like a Vin Diesel type. Obviously,
Yep.
you know, same height, same build, but just green. But yeah, if I was watching that, if I did watch that, I would have been like, oh my god, this is Fast and Furious. But I haven't seen it.
Right.
But I just thought that was interesting. So I might
That's
actually just watch
definitely
that scene of
true.
the show. Yeah.
Ken, I want to report. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You finished it?
dumb show. No, yeah, I liked it a lot. The last episode too. I can't say much more without spoiling it, but
Yeah.
they really break the fourth wall wide open, and it's pretty sweet.
Really quick, do you want to amend your rating? What would you give it now, having seen the entire show?
I don't remember what I gave it before, but I give it for an MCU show, it's a solid 8.5.
Hell yeah.
For a normal show, I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Maybe an 8. I don't know. It was pretty
Yeah.
enjoyable.
That's
yeah.
pretty good. Do you think it just went that high because of the Fast and Furious scene at the end?
That's
Like,
what
Yeah,
it
it
is.
would it
definitely
have been a 6
skyrocketed at that
before?
point. It was
Okay.
only like a 6 before,
That's
right?
That's
Yeah.
how I would, if I had seen it. That's how I'd rank it. Like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I would say probably like a 7 or 8, but then with that scene a 10 if I had watched it.
Yeah.
Of course. Right.
Steve, I gotta say, you're missing out on like a lot of good media out there.
I mean, I just have people tell me about them, and I can
Yeah,
decide if
that's
it's good or
fair.
bad.
You're
if
too
I want
busy.
to get into it. I mean, I told you I watched like a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one.
That's right.
Because it was going fast.
Yeah.
I didn't finish that.
You
but
notoriously also always have to go
I
fast.
gotta go fast.
Yeah.
You heard me driving here when I was late. I had to go fast. If I had NOS, I would have been faster.
Right.
That's a shame. It's just a residential area too.
You're
It's kinda-
spending too many hours on the shop.
I don't know. And I'm hanging up there up in the ceiling part of the shop too, where the air quality is a little bit different.
They got ventilation up there? Or?
No, but that's cars.
That's
cars,
cars.
All right. Well, I think that's the perfect segue into trivia. So you guys ready for some trivia? Because it's time for... Hey, did you know that? That's right. This is the part of the show where we pit our guests and CJ head-to-head to see who knows the most about what we watched. Steve, CJ, are you two ready?
Cars.
Vroom, vroom.
All right. First question. Lovely Meg wrote the trivia for this, and this is the first time I'm reading it. So here we go.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you, Meg. Justin Lin made his return to this franchise as director. What was the last F&F film he directed?
Oh, man, I should know this.
You should.
That's a shame. I would say Tokyo Drift.
Ooh.
Okay.
I was going to go Fast 5 for no reason.
Both wrong.
Oh, is it 4?
CJ, you want to take another guess too?
6.
I think it's 4.
6 is right. You get a half point.
Half a
I'll
point.
give you a half point.
Oh, dang it.
Fast and Furious 6.
Yes.
2013. All right, next question. At 142 minutes, which is 2 hours and 22 minutes, this is the longest Fast and Furious film ever released.
Yeah.
This record was previously held by which 2 Fast and Furious films that are both apparently the same time? Wow.
How is that possible?
I don't know. That's crazy. It's down
They
to
have
the
this same runtime to the minute?
minute. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I
Good
would
luck.
say,
I'll give you a half point if you get one of them.
I'd say 7 and 5.
I was going to say 8 and Hobbs and Shaw. Are we including those?
We are. So you both get a half point because Hobbs and Shaw is one and Fast and Furious 7 is the other. Both
Hobbs and Shaw
at
was
2
that
hours
long.
and 17 minutes.
Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw was pretty long.
All right, so I've got 1 point and Steve's at a half point.
Okay, great. Really off to the races here. All right. So next question. The next 2 are actually not questions. They just say discuss.
Yes,
so-
I remember these questions.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm great at this.
Yeah.
So I think if I remember correctly, these are, I read the prompt and then I hear both answers and then I just
Yeah.
choose which one I like better.
And I think we set a
Okay.
time limit, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, boy.
We had to make our argument within like...
Yeah. All right. You both get a minute, I'm going to say, for each of
minute.
these.
Okay, I'm good
Okay,
at
maybe
time
30
management
seconds.
now.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with 30.
30 seconds is better.
Steve's really
Running
good
around-
at this.
running a little hot. All right. Here we go. Dom's crew spent so much time, ammo, and magnetic carnage trying to stop the giant armored truck named Armadillo in the final chase scene. Why didn't they just shoot its tires?
Steve, you want to take this first?
You should go first.
Okay, gladly. All right, am I setting my own clock?
Yeah,
All right.
sure. Please. Thank you.
All right. Well, as we all
Okay.
know, it's the same with the bank vans. The tires are invincible, similar to the crew themselves. Some of those invincible properties in this universe have transferred over to those tires. Obviously, they would have done that. They thought about that first. What do you think? They're stupid? It's this
10
crew. Are you
seconds.
kidding me? Of course they thought about that. They're not using spike traps, which would be easy to. Also, that's just too easy. It's more fun to be in cars. Obviously, they want to chase them around in cars.
Okay. Steve, I'll tell you that's not the correct answer, but go ahead, Steve.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I have a very I have a very different take. I think the tires were normal tires, and I think they could have been easily shot. But I think the whole point of this is to just have a great time. It's about the journey and not trying to end a good chase early because they're sportsmen. They're here to put on a show, and who cares about the whole like Project Ares and controlling all the weapons and stuff? They're trying to race. They're trying to be fast. They're trying to be furious. So why not blast as many things as they can with as many magnets as they can, and not end it quickly?
What?
Yeah, Steve, that's the correct answer.
Yeah, I
You get
gotta
a
give it to
big,
Steve,
bright,
too.
shiny point for that. Yeah, because, they could have done that for literally any other movie leading up to this point, right? But they haven't. So,
Tires are the easy target. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
It's too easy. That's baby shit.
literally any of the other chases in any of the other scenes in this movie they could have done.
And with how lucky they are, they would have hit it first try from a long distance
Yeah.
too,
Of
course.
if they wanted
Yeah.
to.
Han
They
with
could
a
have thrown a
sniper
rock at
rifle.
it.
Yeah,
Would have taken
right.
it out in one hit.
All right. Next one is also another discussion point. Steve, you'll go first on this one. Again, 30 seconds. Which scene is more impossible? Roman and Tej launching a car into outer space, or Dom and Letty riding a cable around a cliff like a big old car swing?
Ready, go.
I would say space is more impossible because if you know physics, you know how pendulums work, and like the mass of the pendulum will give it enough velocity and acceleration, and that all tracks. The space is the issue because with a Pontiac of that model, I don't think the exterior was designed to design the pressure, like hold the pressure of the atmosphere and the changes as it gets farther and farther away. So more so the takeoff and getting into space, and that's a huge issue. But it still makes sense.
1.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
All
Do
right,
I
then,
have to
CJ?
take the other side? Is that how?
You know, I would
it like
prefer
a
it,
debate?
but-
Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. So what's more impossible? Okay. Here we go. Well, obviously, the space is more. I'm just realizing what side I'm on now. Duh. The space is more impossible. Yeah, let's take a car that definitely still exists because they design cars so well that they still make them, and we'll throw that up into space. I wouldn't put that old guy, trust him with anything. He's so old. He's going to die soon. He shouldn't be designing car rockets. The pendulum, as Steve explained, is physics. Easy.
Okay, well, you're both wrong. It's definitely the pendulum because they at least had time to plan the space rocket thing. So,
I don't know if I agree with that. The pendulum makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I would have done that. If I saw a big
Yeah.
cable, I would have been like, that's the way to swing across.
I can
That's the way to
100% with
Yeah.
confidence say if I was in that scenario, I would have done the same thing.
I drive for a living. I fix cars for a living. That makes sense to me. Space doesn't make sense to me. The rules are different up there. I don't know if you guys know this. There's no roads up there. There's no speed
true.
limits.
Wow.
There's no
Oh, there's the speed limit.
well, no, there's no signage. I'll tell you that much. There's no
all right,
cameras.
CJ, you get a half point for that comment.
Yes.
Very good.
And with that, we're tied.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, this could be the final question then. What is the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter score in percentage? Just closest. And to make it fair, you both can text me the answer.
Okay.
We did this on an earlier episode.
That's right.
And it worked out pretty well.
Well, you already know what my answer is going to be.
That's true. I don't think I need to text
True.
you. I'm not realizing.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go with the usual.
Okay. The usual. And then, CJ, you can just tell me, I guess.
So Steve's is the usual. I'm going to... What do I think the critics thought of this movie? Wow.
Yeah. What number could possibly be closer than
Yeah.
the one that Steve said?
Great point, Ken. This is a stumper. Let's go with a solid 90.
Okay. Yeah. CJ is our winner because he's closer.
Wow.
Congratulations.
This is rigged. I make good guesses on that score week in, week out, and I never get that question right.
For people who haven't listened to the past episodes, what is your usual guess?
It's 100%.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
That's Can I get one more of these?
Yeah, go ahead. Should move this soundboard somewhere else. Should not
Okay,
have placed it in
and-
between us.
The real tomato meter score is, of course, at 59%. So,
Wow.
Is that a splat? That's got to
think
be
it
right.
is.
Yeah, sub 60s splat territory with the space scene with Cardi B.
With Cardi B. Still a splat.
All right.
all right. Well, then, just for fun, what do you guys think the audience score was on Rotten Tomatoes? Steve?
If the critics hated it, then the audience would love it. So.
Right.
Right.
So,
You know what
Probably,
I'm going to
probably 100.
say. 100%.
Okay. Yeah.
all right. Lessons
Okay.
learned. Put the soundboard on
this
the
was
other
bad
side of
idea,
me.
right?
I should not have put it in between us. Okay.
CJ,
Did we
what would
mention
you-
that?
what would you
Yeah,
give it?
that Steve and I are in the same room. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
they
would
can all
give
see
it.
us.
I would give it. I think the audience definitely higher than that. This franchise is making billions of dollars, like at 86.
Yeah, that's much closer. 82.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Very low, but
Yeah.
better than 50.
Well, I think it's time for our ratings then.
Ratings.
Ratings. Steve, and think really long and hard about this. What would you rate F9 for you?
In case you want a comparison, I've got your scores from the last.
Oh,
Actually,
good.
now
Wow.
I'm here in person, so I can actually see. You actually do have this written down.
I did.
This
Is
is,
there,
actually better.
is there any
I'm
quicker way we can get through these numbers this time?
Yeah, so actually now I can see it. I can just do a quick once over.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you
like-
see that I literally took the time to write your scores
is a
out
handwritten
on
thing.
a piece
he
of
actually
paper?
wrote all
Yeah.
of the scores.
and I wrote all of the scores, even though I know what they are.
Very organized. Yeah, I don't know why you
Yeah.
took used the lead from the pencil to even write that.
I
but,
realized after I finished, I was like, why did I do that? I didn't need to do that.
Well, you might have to make a different marking this time. Because
Oh,
my
boy.
rating.
Might have to.
No, let's keep the same thing. It's going to be another 10.
Wow.
And I think the best part about this is that we're leading up to Fast 10. So
Wow.
I'm not going to spoil my rating for that one, but for longtime listeners, they'll know which way I'm going to go with that one. And I
And
can't
Steve,
wait.
what's really giving it a 10 for you?
I mean, without Cardi B, it's still a 10.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think Cardi B keeps it at 10.
Keeps it there.
Yeah,
Okay.
just really
well
just
said.
keeps it there.
Well said. Ken, do you want to go next? Do
Yeah, I'll go next.
you want a reminder of your previous scores? Sure you do.
Just
Here
as,
we go.
as the quick as possible, you can go through it. Sure.
All right, first one, 8.5. Second one, 6.5. Tokyo Drift, a 9, which I still think is ludicrous.
higher. Yeah.
Luda.
Oh, Luda.
And the fourth one, you gave a 5.5, but then Fast Five jumping back up to an 8.5 somehow. Even though you didn't like that movie, I remember you were like, "Well, this is where it takes the turn."
I'm
so I'm
shocked
gonna
by
give
that
it
one,
an 8.5.
Yeah.
Sixth one, you gave a 5.5. Seventh one, you gave a 6.5. Eighth one, you stayed at a 6.5. And Hobbs and Shaw, you gave a 4.5.
Okay. Wow.
Really hated that one.
All right. So here's the real critical analysis of this movie.
Here we go. Strap in, folks.
This is better than the other ones.
Agreed.
This is better just because of how hard they lean into the craziness that they do, and the fact that it makes it for me when Roman mentions that he is invincible and becomes self-aware almost.
Yeah.
Love it. That's great. If this was an hour and a half movie, man, it would be so much higher than it is. But this movie is so fucking long.
It's very
It is
long.
Way too long.
Those are important details. But yeah, it's your rating. It's your
Yeah,
rating.
Ken, where are you trimming the fat on this masterpiece?
Wow. Well, obviously got to keep Cardi B in.
Gotta.
Her lines are crucial to the plot.
Yeah, give her more lines, I say.
Yeah,
She's really
I
good
can't-
at delivering them.
Can't wait till she's part of the crew in Fast X. That's going to be great. Yeah, so, man, it's tough. All right, I got to start with where it would be if this was an hour and a half movie. Probably like a 7.5, maybe. It's really good. Maybe even higher. No.
Higher. Higher.
If this was an hour and a half.
Correct. But it's not. It's
not.
way too long. You get dropped a whole point and a half. So 6.5.
Would it be lower without the Tokyo Drift crew in there?
Oh.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that your favorite
right.
moment?
The Tokyo Drift. All right, you know what? 7, final
Yeah,
answer.
exactly. I feel like if you're going to give Tokyo Drift a 9, their
Yeah.
inclusion alone is enough to get a full point out of that, or at least a half
It's pretty
point.
great.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to need like an energy drink to get through this movie though, because it's really hard to watch this movie without falling asleep.
I was on the edge of my seat every
Yeah.
time I've watched it. I was telling CJ earlier, I definitely wasn't in and out of sleep when I watched it the most recent time.
Right, and then you also said the time before that, same state, right?
Yeah. I was on an airplane, so people are always awake on airplanes. So
Right.
I was too.
And Ken, I've been with you when you have fallen asleep in movies. We've
Correct.
gone to see movies together, and you have fallen asleep. But you did not fall asleep for this one. I want to
I did
know.
not fall asleep for
because
this
you
one. It's
loved
good.
it.
We watched it midday. I think that helped. CJ, what would you rate this movie?
For me, let's see here. All right, first one 5, second one 5, Tokyo Drift 4, ampersand 5.5, fifth one 7.25, getting very specific. Sixth one 7.4, still very specific. Seventh one 7.6, Fate of the Furious 7.5, Hobbs and Shaw 6. This one's got to get like an 8.5. This movie rules.
Wow.
That's your highest score.
I love this. It's so good. They've fully accepted how ridiculous these movies are, and they've leaned into it. It's so much fun. I laughed so much. I had a great time when we went and saw it in theaters. I remember the only thing like walking to our cars afterwards, just being like, "Wow, that ruled." That was so fun
Yeah.
because it's just insane. I highly recommend everyone watch this because it's ridiculous. You go into it not taking it seriously, and you're going to have a blast.
Or if you take it seriously like me,
Yeah.
you will have
An even bigger
an
blast.
even bigger blast. Yeah. And if you know the
And
whole
learn a couple
continuity
things
back
about
and forth,
physics,
yeah.
too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. In this universe,
Yeah.
Ah,
Magnets.
F
And all
ampersand FU.
universes.
Yeah, 8.5. I feel good about that.
Okay. All right. Lock it in.
I can't imagine what this next one is going to be. I think we're getting into 9 territory.
Ken's already had 9 territory with Tokyo Drift.
Yeah,
That's already crazy to
insane.
me. Yeah. So
Well,
of the two of
unfortunately,
you,
we're
the
all
highest
cut
score.
up now,
I know,
right?
yeah.
It's
It's
going to
like-
be a while until we can watch FX. So,
Steve, I'm thinking Citizen Kane next. What do you say?
So yeah, I was
okay.
thinking about that, and I've watched this movie plenty of times.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
and
totally.
I don't know if I want to do that the disservice of talking about it casually, because it's a cinematic masterpiece, right? It's something that belongs in a museum, untouched by
so this show is talking about it casually. We're taking a very serious stance on all of these movies.
We've hit an hour mark. This is very serious.
This is
Yeah.
a pop culture show. This is the mainstream. Citizen Kane is a piece of art for me, and I've seen it.
I don't know, Steve.
I've
it's
seen
been
it.
out of the mainstream for many a decade. I think it's time to bring it back. What do you think?
I think we've all
yeah, we're doing
seen
it. Okay, let's do it. All right, we're locking it in.
I mean, I have so much to talk about because I've seen it.
Great.
And I don't.
These are all good things.
Yeah.
Okay,
That will
yeah.
make for a good
Absolutely.
episode.
All right, cool. Well,
Yes.
I mean, I've seen it. So, okay, all right. You talked me into it.
Great.
All right.
And we will all definitely watch it.
Yeah, and then we.
Wink. I've
Yeah,
never seen it
there's-
before.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it recently too. So
Yeah.
I watch it. I mean, there's only so many movies to watch, like 12 of them, right?
Yep.
So I cycle through. But yeah, I've seen it. So yeah, it's something that we can talk about because I have seen it.
Great.
All right,
we all
perfect.
agree.
Well,
Yeah.
tune in for that, and then maybe by the time that one's out, the 10th Fast and Furious will be out, or another spinoff. Who knows?
Let's hope.
It's crazy.
I cannot wait for
Yeah.
all of these spin-offs in the future. They need to make some of those like Disney Plus shows, like
Oh,
MCU,
an
not Disney
episodic?
Plus, but like give me like a mini series, like
Ooh.
young John Cena on the run,
Yes.
getting recruited by Kurt
when
Russell.
he's left town.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Dom's dad just being in a lot of debt, getting his like
Be a race car driver.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
driving races, yeah.
Give me a Cardi B spinoff.
Give
That's
me
the one that's gonna.
Shit.
Give me the old guy. What happened in between Tokyo Drift and this movie?
I want him finishing his high school. I want him making amends with Tim Toolman's son. I want him finishing top of his class at high school, shaving his beard for like the 70th time because he had facial hair when he was probably 10.
I want that movie. I want that show, but I want it in like 5 or 10 years' time. So
Just so old looking.
At that point, his hairline would be at the top of his head. And he'd have to
yeah,
be
but
playing
it
a
takes
young
place
20.
immediately after Tokyo Drift, so it's totally fine. Yeah.
This 19-year-old kid.
I can't believe I finished high school. I'm going to go make rocket cars now. I'm still so young and have my rest of my life ahead of me.
Little Bow Wow.
Let's get the crew together. Let's go, Bow Wow.
Yeah,
We're all the same age.
definitely. Oh, shit. All right, well, we got to wrap it up because we're almost going the full length of Fast 9 at this
Yeah.
point. Steve, thank you for joining us. Do you have any words of wisdom or anything you want to plug at the end here? A spark plug, anything like that?
Yeah, no spark plugs for me. The season, 'tis the season. Time to put those chains on those tires. You know how it goes. So come in, use the promo code Toolman. I'll give you 10% off the chains. And then I'll even put them on the tires. I'll even do it for you. Wow. Sometimes I have people just do it themselves and I can watch them. But I'll string your car up from the ceiling. I'll get up there on my platform. I'll put the chains on. I'll give you the red and green neon lights for the season,
perfect.
the seasonal lights.
Great.
And then, you're actually gonna have to pay double to get the chains off after the snow's done.
That's how they
That's
get
that's
you.
part of that promo process. But I got to put food on the table for my family.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Got to look out for number one.
Yeah, I got to put a barbecue on the grill for my family. I got to put Coronas in the bucket for my family.
You got to.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's Tokyo,
Tis the
baby.
season. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again. CJ, what do we got?
You can follow us on all the things at Overtalking Pod. Email us like charlene.johnson.loves.her.kids, a.k.a. Young. You can email us at overtalkingpod@gmail.com. Call or text us at USACat1591 or go to our website, overtalkingpod.party. If you want to find all of the previous episodes that Steve has been in, use that search bar, type in the word Steve, and you will find the notorious Buffy the Vampire Slayer super early.
Wait, did you say /Cardi?
Yep. Overtalkingpod.cardi.b.
Can we get that working? Can we get that?
Overtalkingpod.party/Cardi. It'll be a link.
Cardi.
It'll be a link to just this episode.
Great.
I will get on
Great.
that.
So yeah, the one you're already listening to currently.
Yep.
Super helpful.
And in case you want to tell a friend,
Yeah. Okay.
you give them the hyperlink overtalkingpod.party/Cardi.
All right.
And if anyone knows Young's password,
Oh yeah,
call
help
in.
her out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel bad for her.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah. She needs to learn about what happened with the elections. They're here.
Oh no.
The Overtalking Overlords have arrived. They've pulled up
Oh my
in
God, I
their
can see them
in
now
their
for the first
whips. Okay, there they are. They're here to remind you. Please put the chains on your tires.
Yeah.
You
Get an oil
gotta-
change.
You got to do it. And also, fuck. What do they usually?
That's all they say. That's all they say.
That's all I say.
Yeah.
Put chains on your
Check
tires.
Check your oil. Yeah. Check engine lights mean something.
Give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that stuff.
We spending the money.
We're spending the money in advertising. So if you like the show, please tell a friend and use the promo code Cardi B at checkout.
That's a true word.
That's a great prompt. We spending the money. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes. The spread the word. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh.
And they're driving away. Oh shit.
Oh, they're speeding off. Oh wow.
The same on my car, baby.
Yeah,
when I
wow.
came here.
That's crazy.
You guys should
I
race.
think we have the same car.
Yeah. Oh, and also really quick,
All right. Yeah.
next week to somewhat kick off holiday month-ish, we have returning
False start.
false start to holiday month. We're watching The Santa Clauses,
The new one?
the show
With Tim
show.
Toolman.
with Tim the Tool Man,
Yes.
with returning guest Caitlin.
Wow. I
Check
might
it out.
actually watch
We're
that.
probably just watching the first episode.
We're only going to watch the first episode.
Kaylee may watch more. Can't control her. She can do what she
I'm
wants.
stopping
but
there.
yeah, we're probably gonna not watch more than that. And as we always say,
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now.
Bye.
Bye.
When you hear your family. Happy Thanksgiving, family. That's not a thing. This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was produced by Ken and CJ, edited by CJ. This week's special guest was Steve. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs.